That's right, it is the actual most wonderful time of the year, Toontrack's Metal Month, where I get to do a bunch of awesome songwriting videos sponsored by Toontrack, who make my favorite songwriting tools. Today I'm gonna get to do one of my very favorite types of videos to do, which is writing songs from random drum grooves. If you haven't seen me do this before, it's very simple. I have these dice. I'm gonna roll the dice to determine which Toontrack MIDI drum grooves we're gonna use to build our drum track for our song, and then I'm gonna write a song on top of it, and then I'm gonna send it out to our guest vocalist, who's gonna write their part on top of it, and then we will have a final song. I'm also gonna roll the dice to determine a couple other things about the song, like the key and the tempo. So now it's time. Hold on to your butts, because we're gonna let the dice decide our fate. First up, we're gonna roll for the tempo, one of the most important things. We're gonna roll a D10 and the decimal dice, and then we're gonna add 100 to that. 47, so 147. In the past, I've sort of written these blind without knowing who's gonna be singing or playing on them aside from myself. This time, I actually know who this is going to, and it's a singer who can navigate weird stuff. And that sort of inspired me to push the boundaries of the song structure here and deliver something a little bit weirder. So I tried to think out of the box a little bit in terms of the song structure, and I wanted to start off with a chorus, just right into whatever the chorus is gonna be right away. No intro, no screwing around, just straight in. So let's see what that first chorus is going to sound like. I'm gonna roll a D8. 5. Progressive Foundry. I also have a sort of special rule for the Progressive Foundry. Because it's for prog, there are some weird time signatures in there. We have 5/4, 6/4, and 7/8. So as kind of a little bonus, I'm gonna roll the D4, and if it's 1, it's gonna be in 4/4. If it's 2, it's gonna be 5/4. If it's 3, it's gonna be 6/4, and if it's a 4, it's gonna be 7/8. Let's try that out. 4. This first part's gonna be in 7/8. Okay, why do I make it harder for myself? The next part's gonna be interlude 1. What's an interlude? It can be whatever I want it to be. We're gonna roll the roll. 8. High energy grooves. All right, and then on to verse 1. 3. Library of the Extreme. Pretty much guaranteed to be blast beats of some kind. Then after verse 1, a solo. Okay, the solo is gonna be 8. Again, high energy grooves. And then verse 2. 2. Doomcore. Pre-chorus 1. Also 2, Doomcore again. Chorus 2, 6, Thrash Metal.
Thrash metal.
And then another interlude, 6, also thrash metal. Verse 3, 5, Progressive Foundry. All right, so let's roll to see if it's gonna be an odd time signature. Ooh, it's not, 4/4. All right, pre-chorus 2, 3, Library of the Extreme 2 again. Chorus 3, 7, Rhythm Sauvage. And then the outro is gonna be from black metal, hell yeah. Now I'm gonna roll a D12 to determine the key, where 1 is gonna be the key of C, and then 2 will be C sharp, etc. 1, key of C, all right. That's pretty easy. When I choose the key like this, it's really just where we're gonna start, because there's no way I'm gonna stick to one key throughout a whole song. That's just boring, and that's not really how I write. The very first chorus, right out of the gate, it's gonna be Progressive Foundry, 7/8. There's only 5 chorus ideas in 7/8, so I'm gonna roll a D6. Number 2. Cool. I'm down with that. All right, then an interlude. All right, this one's coming from High Energy Grooves. I kind of feel like an intro is maybe the closest thing to an interlude that's on here, so let's grab an intro. So I'm just gonna roll a D20. 5. Okay, I feel like that's a good opportunity to build into the verse. I like that. And the verse is gonna kick right off because we're going to Library of the Extreme. Because Library of the Extreme is basically just tons and tons of different variations of blast beats, they're not organized by what part of the song they are. So I think I'm just gonna roll a 10 and a decimal dice and pick one between 1 and 100. Let's try that. 69, nice. This one's just called China 3 Skank Upbeat. Oh, that'll do. And then we're headed back to high energy grooves for the solo. 54. That is indeed a high energy groove, as advertised. Now verse 2, which is from Doomcore, about 50 of those. All right. 33. All right, rolling for the first pre-chorus. 38. Heavy. That brings us to chorus 2, which is coming from the thrash metal pack. I really like the thrash metal pack. 45. Cool, that sounds like a chorus to me. And then a second interlude. I wanna try something really wacky to put together this interlude. I want it to be proggy and weird. And to do that, I'm just gonna pick 4 different fills. And then I'm gonna write something that goes along to those drum fills. There are a lot of fills in this pack, a lot. So we're gonna roll 100 basically, 4 times. 47. 25. Next one, 91. Oh, this is gonna be wild. Next one, 79. This was kind of a wacky experiment. Let's see how it turned out. This is our second interlude. Not really sure what that's gonna be, but only one way to find out. At last, we are on to verse 3 from the Progressive Foundry, 36. Cool, that's fun. Pre-chorus 2 is coming from Library of the Extreme 2 again. Going on, 84. Wide open, I like it. Chorus 3 is from Rhythm Sauvage, 19. These are always a little weird. Interesting. And then outro, black metal. Since there's not really an outro, we're just gonna use intros. 16. Okay, that's an interesting and weird beat for an outro, but that gives us our whole weird song form structure. Still only about 3 minutes long, so that's good. Now let's see what I can make out of it. All right, now it's day 2. Time to write some guitar parts. I'm gonna listen back again to the drums and see if anything hits me. So far, this is for sure one of the kind of weirder ones. A lot of these bits feel pretty random. Obviously, they actually are. I don't know, like our first verse is pretty wacky. So we are starting the song with the chorus, and that's what I like to do anyways. It's a weird chorus. It's a 7/8 chorus. The other choruses are not in 7/8. It's just this one. I think that's actually where we should start. Normally, I don't start with an intro because what are we introducing? But in this case, the chorus is the intro. So actually starting with an odd time chorus might be a good idea. My favorite thing to do with odd time signatures is to make them not sound like an odd time signature. This is a good groovy 7/8, and I don't wanna mess that up. So that's my priority in coming up with a part for this right now. The idea is that I take my inspiration from the drum part. So if we take a look, first of all, at the kick drum, that's a good place to start, I think. Boom, boom. Tricky. Maybe if I start just by laying down notes along with that, like a single note, and then kind of go from there. And we're in the key of C, so I'm just gonna start with a C. Yeah, just about. See what I can do with that. I feel like I sort of fell into this trap a bit when I did one of these with Courtney LaPlante, of like really sticking to the kick drum rhythm and doing kind of like a one note thing. And it worked pretty well for that song, but I don't wanna keep this as that, but it's a good starting point. So here's what it sounds like with just one note. That's kind of what's cool about like a one note type of a thing, is that the focus is really on the rhythm, but it's also a bit boring. So let's see what we can come up with if we add some other notes. And most importantly, chord changes. I feel like modern metal really lacks chord changes, like real smart, good chord changes. And I'm not gonna fall into that trap. A lot of the time, I just gotta get it down as proof of concept so that I can hear it and then learn it and be able to play it. Because right now, I couldn't play this. Literally don't even know yet. What's cool about this is that I can ignore kick drum parts or hit them, and it sounds pretty cool either way. I can let it kind of float on top of them, or I can kind of like grab them in the middle of a part. Yeah, I feel like maybe this part is a bit too busy in some ways. I kind of like more of having these longer notes that change at seemingly random times. I might need to simplify this down a little bit, but at this point, it's still just a sketch pad. That brings us right back around to C. That is convenient as hell. I don't know what our singer's gonna do with this one. I think in light of how the second half of this turned out, I'm gonna take a couple of notes out of this first bit. I think I'm missing that one note, and let's see if I can kind of cram it in there. That's a lot groovier, and 90% of the time, I'm gonna go with the thing that grooves better, because it's gotta feel good. It's gotta feel right, you know what I mean? That other thing felt pretty herky-jerky. Just by scooting some things around a little bit, I've got it feeling much better, and it's getting a lot closer to that thing I was describing of it being an odd time, but not feeling like an odd time, or at least grooving a lot in that odd time. By that same token, I'm gonna change up this ending rhythm. I wanna give this note more space. I wanna hear this jun-jun-dun back into the beginning of it when it loops back around. I really like that. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yep, I think that might be the Jimmy Jam. So now I want to find a different texture for the second half of our chorus to change it up a bit. I kind of like the idea of doing like a palm muted, chunkier version of it for the second time it goes around. Oh, this is gonna be a challenge. Something like that. So that sounds like this. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna get rid of the palm mute, so I'm just gonna open it up, like kind of open tremolo picking for this last bit. Then along comes this interlude. I feel like a big is in order. I'm hearing a chord on top of this. I hear those notes, but my hand is saying no. What did I ever do to me? This might turn out to be a keyboard part. Oh, I don't like playing that chord, but it sounds so nice. I always want to keep a thematic thread going, and here I'm gonna keep that first rhythm that we heard in the whole song, da 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 da, or some variation. Oh, oh, it hurts. Oh! I'm actually hurting myself. You basically can't hear this low C anyways, and it's already in the big chord, so I'm just gonna play it like this. Save myself a lot of unnecessary pain. Spicy. I feel like this last chord is a really great high tension transition chord. And I think I actually want that to go at the end of the interlude going into the next part. So I'm actually gonna do that. And that means that we need a different chord to go here. Yeah. Kinda wanna give it a little wiggle. Yeah, that sounds cool. Here's a bit of a challenge. So this verse, we now instantly go into this triplet time blast. It's real weird. It's off-putting. One thing that kind of helps with transitions like this is to have the fill before the part have the same feel. So I'm gonna just come up with a fill, a little drum fill here that feels more like this triplet time. So basically a triplet time drum fill. So then that sets up the next part. Rather than this very abrupt change that I personally don't really like, I want just a little bit of a hint of what's gonna come. And then we feel the change happen before it happens. So that leaves us with this. So now I have to come up with a verse part. As I always do, I harken back to the source material, all right? I go back to what we first came up with, our main motif. A rhythmic motif, and I work from there. Even though it's random drum grooves, the rest of it has to have so much cohesion to keep that from being a barrier to enjoying the song. I want this verse to just be
balls out.
Hoo-hoo-hoo. It's a very spicy speed, very spicy tempo. Good enough for now. For the second half of the verse, I'm gonna do the same as the first half, but I'm gonna end it differently to get us into this solo. I think I can actually play the same lick. But now it's gonna be over a different chord. Gonna sort of fill out this part with a second guitar part, kind of a lead guitar part. And I'm gonna take it up because here we had going between the root and the third. Now I'm gonna take it up between the fifth and the... Yeah. Now since we're getting out of this triplet feel into this next part, which is the guitar solo, which feels like this, I'm gonna do the same trick that I did to get into the triplet feel, but in reverse. So I'm going to take us off the triplet grid. Also, because the intensity of the part is kind of dropping, I'm gonna make the fill less busy. I like a fill to sort of hint at what's coming and really set you up for it. This is gonna have both of those things to do that for us. Okay, so of course the problem then becomes the lead bit is still triplets. So maybe I change this lead bit along with the fill. For the solo, I wanna bring it back to C, and I think it actually is gonna work pretty good. Now I just have to learn what I played and play it again. And then something different for the final time through. So that brings us to verse 2. The stuff that we did in verse 1 probably isn't really going to fit. I think it will adapt nicely to this beat. So I blew it on the ending of the solo because I'm dumb. I gotta get back to E flat. I gotta turn that into the same thing, but not with triplets. This part actually is very similar to what we had. I'm gonna throw in like an interesting accent on a different beat. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that idea. So you can hear, I go chug, 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 open, chugga, chugga, chugga. And then here I do the reverse. So like chug, 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 open, chugga, chugga, chugga. And then here, open, 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 chug. Open. And then put them on the offbeats, kinda, for a little rhythmic surprise. And then because I'm a masochist, I'm gonna do the inverse of that for the second half of the verse.
Why do I do this to myself?
Take our little techie lead thing. Dun, 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 dun. So then we come to our first pre-chorus, which we have not yet had a pre-chorus.
But
I think a thing that will work great for our pre-chorus is gonna be this interlude thing we came up with. And then we've got this like little, kind of a perfect little chug rhythm on the kick drum here. Did-it-in, 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 did-it-in. Sounds like a pre-chorus to me. Then we gotta turn our chorus from our 7/8 chorus into a 4/4 chorus. So I'm gonna do something I know is not going to work, but I need something to work off of. So I'm going to drop the 7/8 chorus right there, knowing full well that it's going to be a train wreck, just so that I can have it here for reference, really. All right, I want the second half of our second chorus to be more chordy style. Last time I made it more picking. This time I'm gonna make it less. Damn, this is hard. Okay, we have a big chordy version of the chorus. So I set myself a bit of a challenge for this second interlude. I just took all these drum fill parts, sort of mashed them together to make this. It's basically just gonna be a prog nightmare. So that's fun, but as always, gonna try and keep it relevant to the song, you know? Use parts that we've used before, but change it up so it's not just a complete mess of random crap. Not looking forward to actually tracking that. This is gonna be really hard. We made it back to E flat. That's all that matters. See what happens if we just copy and paste the verse. Let's see if that worked. Kinda works. Cool. That actually worked great. A couple little things I'm gonna tweak here and there, but overall, this is pretty much it, except for this outro. I think the only part of the song that's only happened once is the riff that goes under the solo, which was pretty chunky and cool. Let's see if it makes any sense in the context of the outro that we've got. That worked comically well. That's like perfect. I couldn't have written that better. Little bit of tweaking all the way around on all of these parts at the end here, and we basically got it. The song's not even 3 minutes long. Now it's time to write some bass. So I've got easy bass. I'm just using the core library, a preset that I made. Aside from a little bit of harmony in places, this is pretty much just what I played on the guitar. I always program it up an octave and then I bump it down when I'm done. So let's hear it. Yeah, that part sounds better up an octave. So I think at this point, the track is actually complete enough for me to send it off to the singer once I sort of neaten it up, double track the guitars, and finish up the bass. And I think what I'm gonna do is once I get the vocals back, then I'm gonna add some secondary guitar parts to it, like some more lead guitar, sprinkles and spritzes here and there, because I don't really wanna add a lot of that now and have them work around it. I'd rather hear what they have to add and then kind of react to that, because I think that's a little more fun and also gives them a bit more freedom and then allows me to put the final touches on it rather than have to get it back and then we're done, you know? So I'm gonna do that, but because you're watching the final edited video, you're gonna get to hear the final version of it and see us play through it right now.